So this past week, if not in the past 24 hours, has been very notable for Ring of Honor, AEW, and Tony Khan. Mostly with the arrival of two new signees to the company. Well, probably both companies, depending. That be, of course, this past Wednesday, Toni Storm, and then last night, Supercard of Honor, Samoa Joe. Now, we don't know what the duration of the contracts are, but obviously they could be leased for a couple of years, 2-3 years at most. But here's the question that comes down to one of them, that mainly being Toni Storm. It seems like only yesterday Toni Storm was released from her contract from WWE after flying herself home due to burnout. But now here she is on AEW television. The question obviously is, did she serve her 90 days? Well, depending on when she was released, which was reported around the 29th of December, then yes, she did serve her 90 days. Mainly being the fact that yesterday was April 1st, April Fool's Day, the 31st was on Thursday, and the 30th was on Wednesday. So, Toni Storm indeed served her 90 days, which made her eligible to jump over to AEW. Samoa Joe, obviously been past his 90 days, just waited by his time, and made his return at Supercard of Honor at the end of the main event, where he is now listed as not only part of AEW, but probably going to contribute to Ring of Honor as well. But the question obviously is, how much will AEW and in part Ring of Honor push these two individuals, along with some other names that they're bringing in or want to look into bringing in down the line? And that is a good question. Toni Storm, I'm hoping, gets the opportunity that she didn't get in on SmackDown when she was part of the main roster, nor on the regular NXT brand outside of UK. Hopefully she gets that opportunity. Now, will she get the opportunity, or will she end up like a big swole and maybe even Hikaru Shida for a bit before she got her opportunity again, and that's in catering? We do know that she's going to be part of the women's portion of the Owen Hart Memorial Tournament in the next couple of weeks because she qualified by beating the Bunny. We do know that Samoa Joe is going to be part of the men's portion of the Owen Hart Tournament, but will he win the whole thing? That is the question. You see, if there's one thing a lot of people do worry about with Tony Khan signing these talents is, are you going to feature them for a bit and then sideline them? That's a good question. Hopefully Tony Khan does feature Toni Storm and Samoa Joe decently. If you're not going to do anything with Toni Storm on the main AEW roster, there's the Ring of Honor women's division, you could put it over there. Same with Samoa Joe. If you're not going to do much with him right off the bat, considering who he is, and considering everybody expects you to put him into the main event picture right away, send him over the Ring of Honor. The other question that I think a lot of fans want to know is, with Toni Storm, if she doesn't get the opportunity she's promised here in AEW and by extension Ring of Honor, will she pull the same thing she did in WWE and just fly herself home and say she's done? That's a good question. Now, the difference, though, between WWE and AEW / Ring of Honor is the scheduling. Obviously, Toni Storm looks at something like what AEW is doing, schedule-wise compared to WWE, along with Ring of Honor on AEW's side as well. And that does favor someone like a Toni Storm to be able to have enough time to do whatever she wants outside of appearing, for All Elite Wrestling. So that does, show an attraction. But what Toni Storm also has to look at is the fact is, not only is she going to be competing, on a weekly basis in different towns for Dynamite and Rampage, but that she's also going to have, as well as, Elevation, Dark Elevation, but that she's also going to have to fly down to Orlando and make appearances for Dark. Now, I don't think she'll have a problem with either one of those solutions at all. But again, what people wonder about is, if she doesn't get the opportunity that she's thinking she believes she's going to get here, and they believe she's going to get here, is will she pull the same stunt she did with WWE despite the lesser schedule? Hopefully not, and hopefully Toni Storm can carve her, niche and carve her name into the history books of All Elite Wrestling. And as far as Ring of Honor goes, again, depending on how they schedule and set that up, whether or not that's something that she's got to commit to as well on occasions. You know, will she be able to fulfill what she believed she could fulfill in WWE but didn't, with them, and not, pull the same stunt? Hopefully. Hopefully. I mean, if there's one thing we can give AEW credit, Tony Khan credit for, is he realizes that the only way you're going to attract people to come see a wrestling event is to make sure it's a special event that comes to the area, comes to the region every once in a while, and that they need to be there because they may not see these people again live and in person except for on television. So I will give him credit there. But hopefully Toni Storm finds her niche and everything. It seems she's happy there. The reaction, the response she got on her debut on Dynamite definitely shows that this could be a step in the right direction for her. But again, let's hope all goes well and we don't end up with a similar situation with WWE where she flies herself home, not just because of burnout, but because of frustration. Again, you listen to what other people have had to say about AEW and how they book people there and how sometimes they have to, stay in catering. As I check the time here for a second, guys, I do apologize for the flashing light. Okay, got enough time. So hopefully, she doesn't heed to being frustrated if she gets stuck in catering or whatever for a while after making a big splash on AEW television and potentially Ring of Honor television, to the point that she, like I said, she pulls the same stunt she did before. Right now, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It looks like they're going to treat her correctly, and we'll just go from there. Same with Samoa Joe. I think Samoa Joe will fit in well. But the question is, are they going to be pushing him to the top? Are they going to let him be the Samoa Joe he was in TNA, or he's a monster at first? Or are they going to put him on equal basis to where he has to put people over once in a while, even though he shouldn't? We'll see. Will he contribute behind the scenes as a trainer for both AEW and Ring of Honor, as well as a consultant, a booker, and stuff like that when he's not wrestling? Oh, absolutely. He's a great addition in that area as well. And the scheduling does work in his favor, so that means he doesn't have to worry about the fact that any lingering injuries he had in the past that made WWE hold him back a little bit from competing again will come back, and re-aggravate themselves unless, he ends up going all out, doing a match against somebody to where that could potentially happen. Hopefully it doesn't, and Samoa Joe will get a decent run. Now, the question obviously a lot of people have when it comes to these two is, will Ring of Honor put the world championships of both respective divisions on them? If not, it's not as well as with Ring of Honor. Will AEW do that? And I think over time they will. Over time they will, but it's going to be just a matter of when and where. Here's the thing, I don't expect, depending on the duration of the contracts, I don't expect them to be in the world title picture or having a world championship before this year is out, but I expect them to at least be competing in the conversation before the year is out. To contrast that. But we'll see what they do with Samoa Joe. I think he'll have a decent run, and he will be in the world title conversation, before the year is out, to contrast with the fact that he won't be competing for it right away unless they really want to put him on top. The same with Toni Storm. I think patience is going to be a virtue with those two. But we'll see. Hopefully, again, with Toni, we don't get a repeat of what happened in WWE, this time with frustration. And with Joe, hopefully any nagging injuries he has been healed and he can compete on a semi-regular